Welcome back, everyone. Today we're on the letter Kaf. So let's begin by writing the numerical value of the letter Kaf, which is 20. Remember that after the letter Tet, which represents 9, letters Yod all the way to Tzadi go up in the tens. So Kaf is 20. The Talmudic sequence of the Aleph Bets that we've been following along in this series teaches that if you carry out what the Aleph Bet Gimel Dalet stands for, which is learning Torah and acting kindly, then Hey Vav, which is God, will give you Zayin Tet Yod, will give you sustenance, acceptance, good, and inheritance. So finally, that teaching says, Vekosher lecha keter. Now we're on the letter Kaf of that teaching where it says, He will affix a crown upon you. This is our vocabulary word of the day. Keter, you're going to want to write that down. Keter, crown. And this image that we're going to be following along in this series, in this lesson specifically, is of Torah crowns. These are crowns that specifically go on top of Torah scrolls to decorate the scrolls in honor of the scrolls. So the sages teach of 3 crowns. All right. The first one is Keter Torah, which is crown of Torah, and then Keter Kehuna, which is crown of priesthood, and Keter Malchut, which is crown of kingship. Now, the rabbis teach about an immense respect to be had towards those who wear these crowns. The crowns of priesthood and kingship, namely these 2 and 3, it depends on family lineage. Right? The crown of priesthood is available only to the family of Aaron, and the crown of kingship is available only to the family of David. But as we saw last week, the crown of Torah is placed upon anyone who acquires it as an inheritance. And interestingly, we can also see these 3 crowns represented in the 3 vessels in the Holy Temple, all of which were topped, as the Torah describes it, by a golden crown all around. So the crown of Torah is said to represent the Ark of the Covenant, the crown of kingship, the table of showbread, the crown of priesthood, incense altar. So commentaries on this portion of Pirkei Avot, Ethics of Our Fathers, that describe the crowns, mention great insights regarding the physical and spiritual natures of these crowns and what they represent, mainly study, sustenance, and worship in the divine service, etc. Now, make note on how we've touched on each specific vessel, Ark of the Covenant, table of showbread, incense altar, but we've yet to cover one specific vessel. And this is due to the fact that as the verse in the Mishnah continues, there's actually a 4th crown that surpasses all of these. Keter Shem Tov. This crown is placed upon someone whose deeds earn him the respect and affection of his fellows, the crown of a good name. So a scholar, a priest, or a king is lacking if they fail to acquire this crown. The Talmud teaches that this crown is even superior to the crown of the Torah because, and I'm sure any student would agree, what good does any word from the mouth of the greatest, wisest, most knowledgeable Torah sage hold if they behave lowly? If anything, such a Torah teacher commits Chilul Hashem, a desecration of the name of Hashem. In relation to the crown of Kehuna, priesthood, the sages put it this way: a heathen that acts the way Aaron did is far better than a descendant of Aaron that does not act the way Aaron acted. Bigdei Meshi offers a great interpretation. He says, the first 3 crowns are gifts. Wisdom and intelligence is God-given. Priesthood is a familial inheritance, and even the wealth associated with kingship is the result of a heavenly decree. It's only a good name which man earns for himself through good deeds and pleasant personality that makes it truly his. And for this reason, it's greater than all the other crowns. This is a teaching from Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It says, a good name is more precious than the Holy Ark. While the Holy Ark went only 3 days' distance before the Israelites in the wilderness, a man's good name precedes him all over the world. Now, if the first 3 crowns correspond to the Ark, the table of showbread, and the incense altar, then what vessel does this one allude to? Well, remember the vessel that we did not mention was the golden menorah. How does the crown of a good name refer or allude to the golden menorah? Tov Shem mishemen tov. A good name is better than good oil. This is from Ecclesiastes. And the sages teach that it was God's original intention that the entire nation should wear all of these crowns. And they cite a very popular text in Exodus 19:6. Ve'atem tihiu li mamlechet kohanim ve'goy kadosh. You shall be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy people. If they allowed all their actions to be regulated according to Hashem's will, every single Jew was to become a priest of word and service, and a king of example and leadership spreading knowledge of God. The prophet Isaiah expresses it in chapter 61:6. It says, "You shall be called priests of Hashem. It shall be said of you, ministers of our God." Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do, and then we will understand. This is the most, or one of the most popular verses cited, especially in the context of Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. It says, the sages used this verse to teach how every Jew was potentially worthy to share in performing the temple service. Recall the Midrash that says that upon uttering this declaration, these two words, Na'aseh v'nishma, all Jews received the crown of the Torah. In addition, since there were two words, each Jew was honored by the angels with two crowns, representative of the national commitment to observe both the positive and negative commandments of the Torah. But what happened, as we know the story, the sin of the golden calf. So the crowns of kingship and priesthood were taken away from everyone, and now the priesthood was exclusive to Aaron, and kingship was exclusive to the house of David. So when the Talmudic teaching of Kaf says he will affix a crown upon you, Maharsha teaches that it only refers to the crown of Torah. And even though the functions of priesthood and kingship will not be restored until the future redemption and the rebuilding of the temple, as the Orthodox rabbinic view teaches, the crown of Torah is granted by God at all times, even in exile, to anyone who desires it. Now, what is the numerical value of Keter? As we can see right here, Kaf is 20, Tav is 400, and Resh is 200. Crown, Keter, is 620. And this represents the totality of the mitzvot, of the commandments. There's 613 commandments ordained by the Torah, and then there's 7 of them that are rabbinic in origin. Now, interestingly, 620 is also the gematria, the numerical value for this phrase, Sam Chayim Umavet, potion of life or death. And the teaching here is the very same mitzvah, the very same commandment, can be both a potion of life and of death. There are those who fulfill the purpose of creation by studying and observing the Torah with unselfish sincerity, making them earn the crown of the Torah, bringing riches and honor and a long life in this world and an everlasting share in the world to come. For these people, the Torah is Sam Chayim, a potion of life. However, someone who denies the Torah, who violates its sovereignty and is insincere in what he does observe, well, that person forfeits his right to God's gift of life. He turns Torah into Sam Hamavet, a potion of death. And this can be seen in the following. He who denies the Torah transforms the Keter, the crown, into Karet, spiritual excision. I hope you can see these 3 letters being mixed. Keter is crown, Karet is spiritual excision. He turns it into Karet because he cuts himself off from his spiritual source of life. He chooses to turn away from it, cutting off his own branch into nothingness. Now, I wanted to conclude this lesson by sharing a little discussion in the Talmud found in Sanhedrin 59a, where it discusses a scenario of a Gentile studying Torah. Now, obviously, we know throughout the Torah and rabbinic writings that it's the Jews' primary goal to become knowledgeable in the Torah and to study and live by it day and night. But the Gentile is totally different. Right? They are within an entirely separate context, one that does not have any sense of obligation in regards to the Torah. Now, Rabbi Yochanan said that a Gentile who engages in Torah study is liable to receive the death penalty. And he uses a verse in Deuteronomy to show that Moses commanded the law as an inheritance to the congregation of Jacob, as we saw last week. So the inheritance is for Jews, not for Gentiles. This is Rabbi Yochanan's view. And then the Gemara challenges this by saying, well, this can't include the 7 Noahide laws, right? Those are okay for Gentiles to study. Furthermore, if the Torah is an inheritance, then the Gentile, according to this Jewish view, is committing robbery, because a Gentile who studies the Torah robs it from the Jewish people. However, as we understand the Gemara, the nature of the Talmud is including various interpretations, right? So this portion actually has a rabbi contests this idea. Rabbi Meir objects to this interpretation. Rabbi Meir did not view the Gentile studying Torah negatively. Rabbi Meir says a Gentile engages in Torah study. That person is considered like a high priest. Wow, very positive pro Gentiles for Torah view. Now, the Gemara tries to reconcile the two by saying the Gentile is still limited only to the 7 Noahide laws. So I leave you with that, understanding the role of Gentiles around the world getting closer to the Torah and studying it for the sake of heaven, at least in my humble opinion. So we'll conclude the letter Kaf with this note saying, every day you're constantly facing temptations for everything, right? And as we've learned, that the choice is always yours. Will you choose the potion of life? Will you seek to acquire and earn a good name for yourself, being exemplary among your fellows, living up to the status of embodying a Kiddush Hashem, living as a sanctification of the name? Well, the choice is yours. May we all seek these crowns. I'll see you in the next lesson. Shalom, shalom, and Shavua Tov.